On the news, President Buhari tells government agencies to prioritize indigenous professionals for national projects. Chief of Defense Staff confirms death of ISWAP leader AL-BARNAWI. And federal government makes COVID-19 vaccination compulsory for civil servants. Glad to have you join us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Mary Kanu. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed ministries, departments and agencies to give priority to indigenous professionals in the planning, design and execution of national projects. Speaking at the inauguration of the Presidential Monitoring and Evaluation Council of the Executive Order 5 at the State House in Abuja, Buhari said foreign professionals should only be considered where it had been certified that the expertise is not available locally. According to a statement issued by presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina, Buhari said the federal government shall introduce margin of preference in national competitive bidding in contracts, in the evaluation of tenders and from indigenous suppliers of goods manufactured locally over foreign goods. Buhari also noted that all MDAs shall ensure that any professional practicing in Nigeria must be duly registered with the appropriate regulatory body in the country. In February 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Executive Order 5 to improve local content in public procurement with science, engineering and technology components. According to the President, this is also aimed at placing Nigerian professionals and manufacturers at the center of the Nigerian economy. Well, joining us now on the news to further look at the significance of this Executive Order 5 is Dr. Muda Yusuf, the immediate past Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Well, thank you for joining us on the news. Could you please help us break this down? What significant role does the Executive Order 5 play, and what kind of opportunities does it provide for professionals in the country? Dr. Muda Yusuf, if you can hear me, I said, could you please help us break this down? What significant role does the Executive Order 5 play? And also, what kind of opportunities does it provide for professionals in the country? Dr. Muda Yusuf, can you hear me, please? I'm afraid we've lost Dr. Muda Yusuf at this point. But moving on now, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, has confirmed the death of a leader of the Islamic State West Africa Province ISWAP jihadist group, Abu Musab al-Barnawi. Although ISWAP has not given any confirmation of al-Barnawi's death, General Irabor, while fielding questions from reporters, said he can authoritatively confirm that al-Barnawi is dead and remains dead. He, however, did not give any details of the circumstances of al-Barnawi's death, which was first reported in September. Al-Barnawi is the son of the founder of Nigeria's Boko Haram militant group, which has been fighting a grinding Islamist insurgency in the northeast since 2009. The ISWAP commander rose to prominence after splitting with Boko Haram in 2016 over differences with its commander Abubakar Shekau, who died earlier this year during infighting between the two factions. And still on security, the sustained operational tempo of the air, land and maritime components of the Nigerian Armed Forces has considerably reduced the spate of criminal activities across the theaters, resulting in the surrender of over 13,000 Boko Haram terrorists and their affiliates. The acting director of Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Oyuko, said this during the bi-weekly updates on the activities of the Nigerian troops and other security agencies. Oyuko said the dominance of the troops within the last 2 weeks also saw the rescue of kidnapped civilians, recovery of arms, arrest of some criminal elements and busting of some illegal bunkering sites in the South.
A total of 29 terrorists were neutralized. 13 terrorists, including their informants and logistics suppliers, were arrested in the course of these operations. So far, a total of 13,345 terrorists and their families, comprising 3,243 adult males, 3,868 adult females, and 6,234 children have surrendered to own troops at different locations in the Northeast. A total of 317,450 liters of refined automotive gas oil, 80 liters of dual-purpose kerosene, 159,000 liters of stolen crude oil were recovered in the course of the operation.
As the world prepares for the 26th United Nations Convention on Climate Change Conference of Parties in Glasgow, Scotland, the Nigerian government has been urged to take urgent steps to save the environment. As stakeholders and experts gave the charge at the launch of some research works bordering on climate change at the National Assembly complex. Our correspondent Aniete Patrick completes the story.
President of Global Nigerian Vice President Africa Global Legislators Organization for a Balanced Environment, Globe International, Sam Onigo, has charged the Ninth Assembly to fast-track the process of passing the climate change bills before it, as this will guarantee in-house funding for the initiative. He, however, commended the Nigerian Senate for passing and giving concurrence to the climate change bill.
Nigeria has, of course, taken the very important step of applying nature-based solutions in our quest to mitigate and adapt to the impacts of climate change through its reducing emissions from forest degradation and deforestation. Aware of the importance of these programs, Globe, as part of our Globe UNEP GEF projects, commissioned the production of 3 research works entitled Legal and Institutional Readiness for RED+.
The Speaker of the House, who was represented by the House Minority Leader, Dudu Elumelu, while commending the initiative, assured that the House will fast-track passage of climate change bills before the Green Chambers.
I want to assure you that the House of Representatives will be up and doing in ensuring that we'll support it, and all the bills, both the forestry bill, the climate change bill, all the outstanding bills, as soon as we're through with the money bill, which is the budget of 2022, I can assure you that we'll fast track those bills.
Stakeholders at the launch called for appropriation of funds for the global initiative, since climate change is a global issue that affects every continent in the world.
As we stand on the cusp of one of the most important UN summits in history, COP26, it's brilliant to see that Nigeria is not just talking about climate action, but walking the walk and finding practical solutions to the climate change phenomenon. The publication of these materials follows hot on the heels of other welcome national initiatives to boost climate action and to protect and preserve Nigeria's biodiversity.
Global Legislators Organization for a Balanced Environment, Globe, had identified legislators as having a central role to play in getting countries like Nigeria to make the important transition to an economy which recognizes natural capital approach.
Stakeholders at the forum agreed that the world is facing an existential threat that demands that all hands must be on deck to save it. Aniete Patrick from the National Assembly reporting for TV360 Nigeria.
Well, our correspondent Aniete Patrick now joins us on the news to give us more details on this report. I thank you for joining us on the news, Aniete. And now, can you please tell us more about these research works on climate change that were launched today? Now, did the experts reveal any of their findings?
Well, so far,
climate change has been one major concern for Nigerians and the world at large concerning the issue of climate change. And experts have agreed right now that they need to look at the area of funding. Yes, the Senate yesterday had passed the bill through a concurrent, and then they agreed that with this is an exciting news for Nigerians holding to COP, which is coming up in Scotland, which will give Nigeria an edge in the area of climate change. From what the experts gathered so far, I see that Nigerians have actually subjected, or rather agreed to nature-based solutions such as emissions and degradation emissions from degradation and also deforestation. See how this can enhance climate change, because if you look around Nigeria, we have the issue of erosion, deforestation in the north, and erosion in the east. All of this have actually caused a lot of issue for Nigerians. So this is one of the major area the expert is looking at, that funding will be the major thing, and also for the House, which is the legislators, to also look at the way to push for this bill. It's also coming in the area of money funding, like the legislators talked about it today, even in the House, that apart from the budget, there should be the area of budgets for the climate change also. This is one major area Nigeria is looking forward for a change. Climate is affecting the world at large. That is the reason why the conference in Scotland always comes up every time. And this time around, they've seen that there's more reason for funding. That's one of the major areas experts think that Nigerians will do better if there's proper funding, especially in the budget, the money bill. It will go a long way in solving all of this in climate change.
At this point, Aniete, I must ask, were any significant resolutions made as to how Nigeria will implement some of the issues the research addressed?
Like I said, nature-based solutions is what Nigerians are looking at. So that's one of the area experts is saying Nigerians still need to hold on to nature-based solutions to see how we can, on our own, start resolving this issue of climate change, because it's something that is inevitable. It has to come. You just have to find a way around it, pending when other solutions can come up for this to get better, for Nigerians to know how they can look. And then funding, like I said, is one of the major area Nigerians feel if funding is available with the ideas that will be shared during COP in Scotland, it will go a long way in ensuring that climate change doesn't affect Nigerians much. Like I said, in the north, it's quite sunny, and so deforestation is not even helping. So if we have this put in place, it will go a long way. That's one of the solutions, most of the major solutions they looked at this launch today.
Well, our correspondent Aniete Patrick giving us more details on what went down at the National Assembly. Thank you for the updates, Aniete. And moving on in politics, the path is now very clear for former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Charles Soludo, to contest in the November 6 Anambra governorship election on the platform of the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA. This follows a ruling by the Supreme Court earlier today, which affirmed Soludo as the governorship candidate of the party. The Apex Court, in a unanimous decision by a 5-man panel of judges led by Justice Mary Ojili, upheld the judgment of the Kano State Division of the Court of Appeal, which validated the primary election that produced the former CBN governor, and also affirmed Victor Oye as the chairman of the party. According to the Supreme Court, the appellate court was right when it quashed a Jigawa State High Court judgment that recognized the parallel primary election conducted by the Jude Okeke-led faction of APGA, which produced Chukwuma Umeoji as the party's flag bearer.
High Court, which made pronouncements on who should be candidates in Anambra State governorship election, which was set aside by the Court of Appeal, was equally vilified by the Supreme Court, having sustained the decision of the Court of Appeal to the effect that it amounted to forum shopping for any of the parties to proceed outside the territories of Anambra State or even Imo State, where the party's situation took place, all the way to Jigawa State, and then to get a judge in Jigawa to make pronouncements on who should be the governorship candidate in Anambra State. It's totally crass, to borrow the language of the court.
This is the final court, and when the final court speaks, you all have to comply. The final court of the conclusion that the matter was not proper before there is an abuse of process. We've all learned from it, and yeah, that is it.
Well, we'll we'll take a break here, but still to come, a blast kills Taliban commander, wounds 11 in Afghanistan. We'll bring you details of that and more after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Glad to have you back. Well, here's a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. The Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Rabo has confirmed the death of a leader of the Islamic State West Africa Province ISWAP jihadist group, Abu Musab al-BARNAWI. Although ISWAP has not given any confirmation of al-BARNAWI's death, General Rabo, while fielding questions from reporters, said he can authoritatively confirm that al-BARNAWI is dead and remains dead without giving any details of how and when the ISWAP leader died. We also told you that the Supreme Court has affirmed Charles Soludo as the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA in the November 6 Anambra election. The Apex Court, in a unanimous decision by a 5-man panel of justices led by Justice Mary Odili, upheld the judgment of the Kano State Division of the Court of Appeal, which validated the primary election that produced Soludo. The court also affirmed Victor Oye as the chairman of the party. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. With effect from December 1st, 2021, all government workers will be required to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination, the federal government has said. A chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, who said this during the PSA briefing, added that workers who do not show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 result will be barred from government offices. This comes just as Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, in a briefing, said the enforcement of restrictions on state government workers is as a result of a steady influx of individuals into Edo State, making it a high-risk state.
One of the reasons why our COVID became a big issue is that we are a very high-risk state because of the level of movements within the state. We're at a junction, and there's always a lot of traffic, from across the country, and this virus gets propagated and spread by movements. So that is one of the reasons why we take the issue of COVID very, very seriously in Edo. From the figures we're seeing, it seems to be, this third wave seems to be going down, and we're praying and hoping that we don't get a fourth wave. So the issue of the no vaccination, no entry order, which we have in place, will be reviewed.
Well, we'll take a break here and return with business, international and sports stories. Please stay with us. Well, welcome back. Well, up next is business news and stock market review with Folashade Ogurinde. Over to you now, Folashade.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. And in business, the senators summoned the accounting officers of the 7 federal ministries, departments and agencies over their failure to defend their inputs in the 5.01 trillion naira loans proposed to fund the 2022 budget deficits. President of the Senate, Hamad Lawan, while issuing the summons at the close of plenary on Wednesday, decried the non-appearance of the affected MDAs before the Senate Committee on Loan and Foreign Debts. Lawan further stressed that the Senate would not condone any act of sabotage to the efforts of the federal government to secure the loans to fund infrastructure development.
The National Assembly has approved the law requests, but there is need for justification. I will therefore call the names of these MDS, and we are giving them just 1 week to appear before the Committee on Loan and Foreign Debts. And if they fail to appear, we'll take appropriate and prompt action, because this Senate will not condone any sabotage to the efforts of this administration to provide infrastructure in this country. Ministry of Power, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Women Affairs, Minister of State, NNPC, Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, NASENI, National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Ministry of Water Resources, and Ministry of Environment.
Well, we'll take a short break here, and when we come back, we will review how the stock markets performed. To stay with us. Investors smiled to the bank with as much as 44.06 billion naira profits at the end of Thursday's trading session. The gains were made as all-share index appreciated by 0.19% to close at 41,129 basis points. All indexes were in the greens as market activity saw volume, value, as well as transactions improving from yesterday's performance. From this table, we see that over 908 million volume of shares are valued at over 10 billion naira, exchange hands in 5,151 deals. Now, this positivity also reflected on trading charts as market breadth closed positive. 20 gainers led by Champion Breweries PLC and Africa Prudential PLC topped the gainers chart with a combined profit of 77 kobo. Now, on the laggards table, we see that 14 equities lost some money at the end of today's trading. Coming tops on that list are Learn Africa PLC and EcoBank Transnational Incorporated, recording a combined loss of 74 kobo. Now, this is, of course, not an improvement from when compared to yesterday's performance. Now, let's our attention now to the foreign stocks. London's FTSE rose to a 2-month high on Thursday, boosted by heavyweight oil and mining stocks, closing in the greens at 0.92%. Also, stocks on the Dow Jones jumped at the starting bell on Thursday, boosted by earnings reports and by notable improvements in weekly jobless claims. Nikkei also performed well in its trading, closing in the greens at 1.46%. And that's all on the business segment of news now. Back to Mary for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you for that update for Lashade. And now on the foreign scene, a bomb ripped through a vehicle carrying a Taliban police chief in eastern Afghanistan on Thursday, killing him and wounding 11 others. An official from the Islamist group said the blast, which happened in Asadabad, the capital of Kunar province, was targeted at the Taliban police chief for Shigul district, who died in the blast while 4 Taliban fighters and 7 civilians were injured. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack, but the Islamic State Khorasan group, who are active in eastern Afghanistan, have claimed similar attacks on the Taliban in the past. Well, it's time for Entertainment Report.
Award-winning singer TIWA Savage has stated that she postponed her music tour till next year because of her father's death. The songstress said this during her Instagram live session, where she appreciated fans for their support. In a star-studded elaborate ceremony on September 3rd, the singer buried her father in Lagos shortly after the release of her extended play project, Water and Gary. Congratulations are in order for Nigerian comedian Bright Okpocha, popularly known as BASKETMOUTH, as he recently achieved a great new feat by signing a record deal with US-based record label Empire. Taking to his verified Instagram page, the excited comedian posted a video and photos of himself with men who appeared to be his business partners in the signing of the deal. Empire is an independent record label that handles music licensing and distribution. The record label boasts of a lineup of successful Nigerian artists such as Olamide, Fireboy DML. The deal comes after BASKETMOUTH's successful album Yabasi, released in 2020. And that is all that we have for you on the entertainment segment of News Now.
And in sports, Giants of Africa Foundation, through its Build Within initiative, has unveiled 4 basketball courts in Lagos State. At the unveiling ceremony, former Nigerian national basketball team player Masai Ujiri, who is the president of the foundation, reiterated the foundation's commitment in creating opportunities for youth in Africa by investing in sports infrastructure. Our correspondent Jide Olarinyo now tells us more.
The excitement in the faces of the students, their parents, teachers and community leaders say it all. There is a state-of-the-art facility within their reach, which will help them develop their craft in basketball. Giants of Africa, a foundation which is the brainchild of the vice chairman and president of the NBA side Toronto Raptors, Masai Ujiri, is unveiling a basketball court it builds in Ilupeju Grammar School, Lagos, Nigeria.
We're here in Ilupeju Grammar School and we want to make a difference with this youth. Here is a facility that we've put, and hopefully it builds programs, hopefully it builds this youth to play the game of basketball, and it builds a little bit of their community coming together. So yeah, different courts, different feel, different places, you know, but serving the same purpose and the same goals.
Giants of Africa has changed my life. It made me believe in myself. Let me know where I'm from. Let me understand that I need to let people know I am from Africa, I am black, I believe in myself, I love where I am from, and I love where I am. I still play the game regardless that I'm in school, I'm in university. I go to University of Lagos. I play the game of basketball. I'm still an active player. I'm here to impact the knowledge I learned previous years ago. 4 years ago, 2017, 2018, I was the MVP. Now I'm impacting back the knowledge they taught me to the other kids that we're having here.
This gesture is not taken lightly, as those whose dreams and crafts will be positively impacted by it are already looking ahead.
Before, there was nothing like the basketball court here, but we have been training on playing ground. But now that there's basketball here, it's a very good thing for me. It is very going to be useful to me now to have them playing really on the basketball court really. Most of them are seeing this court for the first time. So even if they have been training at home, I know about 50% of them have not even seen this kind of a facility before. So this one will be a very great advantage to them, and it will even boost their morale.
I'm so glad today because we have processed this thing to be coming to our community, especially. But when they start this thing, you know, when we talk about sports, for schools, should be doing sports. By the time they bring this to our court here, we are so happy. At least I can say it is #1 in one of the secondary schools in Udulu here. And it's going to promote the sport general.
The Giants of Africa is committed to building 100 basketball courts in Africa, and the journey has started with 4 already built in strategic locations like Ijesha-Sedu, Oworo, and Ilupeju, all in Lagos, Nigeria. Jide Olanuro, TV360.
Well, that's the size of our bulletin at this time. Many thanks for watching. I'm Mary Kanu. Bye for now.